All right, all right, all right. Around 4 picks until the Chiefs are back on the clock here in the 6th round. Ryan is, I don't know. I don't know where Ryan is. He's somewhere in probably the mountains trying to get back home before right now. So either he's setting up or he's still on the road. We will have you guys covered regardless. We got one here in the 6th round and again in the 7th. All right. So we know Christian Mahogany out of Boston College is, I believe, still on the board, interestingly enough. Some of the guys that we've talked about, Johnny Wilson, Malik Washington, Jaquan Jackson, DJ James, have all gone. Tyler Davis as well. So looking at what the possibilities are, I do think that defensive tackle is still a place to go. Wide receiver on the board as well. And I'm not entirely sure if, I mean, what about edge? That's also a possibility. They've got some players, I believe. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Nelson Cesar out of Houston is an option that I like. Jalen Harrell out of Michigan. Brendan Rice, obviously, wide receiver out of USC is still on the board. That is someone that I know a lot of you want the Chiefs to draft, and apparently nobody else does. Anthony Gould was one of the guys that I liked, and he's now in Indy. Tyrone Tracy was drafted by the New York Giants, not too long after the Chiefs drafted in the 5th round. So, speaking of the devil, there's Ryan right now. Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. Oh, he can't hear
There
me.
we go. There we go. How we doing?
I was about to tell everyone that my body is starting to catch up with me from draft season. Like we got off the stream last one, and it's coming crashing down. Like it's the final realization. By the way, the guys, this happens every year after 4 months of cramming, of just film, Senior Bowl. I added the combine this year to my schedule. Film. It is. It gets so much. So I'm doing all right now. I guarantee you tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I'm actually going to the KCSN after party essentially in Kansas tomorrow. I'm going to drive down and then I'm going to have some drinks and my wife will be driving back because I'm going to I'm not going to let that happen. So, oh man, yeah. How are you doing? How you doing, Ryan?
I've not hit that wall yet, only because I just had to drive. What usually takes me about 25 minutes took me a little over an hour and 10 in the snow. So, but I did make it home. I am back up on the mountain. We've had a few power outages, so if I drop, you know what to do. That would be why. But right now, the internet and the power are holding. So, thoughts on anybody recently? It's been a whole lot of for me as I was listening on the way up, except for the little run there with Jaquan Jackson, Malik Washington, Johnny Wilson, all within 4 picks of each other.
Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. I'm looking at the 2 picks back to back for defensive tackle, Christian Boyd and Jaden Crumedy. Both players I thought would make the Chiefs at least better at defensive tackle for the future. And maybe the Chiefs are more confident in Isaiah Buggs than we believe them to be, because Buggs, again, was brought over from the Detroit Lions after last year, during the season, actually, and he didn't play at all. He sat there on the practice squad, or was it activation or something like that, and he didn't play at all. So maybe that, along with Neil Farrell, who was the only other defensive tackle under contract, I believe, after next year. So it's tough for me at defensive tackle right now. I do believe that Leonard Taylor is still available out of Miami. The fall for him is kind of insane. If he would have come out 2 years ago, 2 drafts ago, he probably would have been a day 2 pick. After that season, he comes back this year, falls off the face of the earth. Have you seen Gabe Hall go by chance?
I have not. I'm just getting caught up here. Two things that on a day that really just continues to piss me off. Tylen Grable, the most athletic offensive tackle here. If there's anybody to invest in developing, it was Grable for me on day 3. He goes, and then a couple players later, Dylan Lobb goes. So there goes my running back. And then just now, Christian Mahogany
Yeah.
to the Detroit Lions. The Chiefs are on the clock, folks. Welcome back. If you haven't been with us, like, sub, hit the bell. We've been doing this all weekend, full streams the last couple of days, and we've been hitting as the Chiefs pick here the last couple. So, what are you feeling right now?
It could be any number. It could be anyone between running back, defensive tackle, edge. There are some guys here that I believe they could take for developmental purposes. I don't know if Nelson Cesar, I haven't been keeping up. Nelson Cesar has been drafted or not out of Houston. He was a guy who had a good Senior Bowl. To my eye, guys like Jalen Harrell, who is a 100% upside pick, and the Chiefs, no, they go cornerback.
I thought this was a possibility. I actually took him off of my board. Kamal Haddon from Tennessee.
Yeah.
I actually put the Illinois kid onto my board, Daquan Hardy, because of the athleticism piece. But Haddon's solid. I mean, if you're going to take a gamble here, there's no reason not to. He's got decent size. I'm trying to pull up his matrix right now, and I'll be able to give you a read on it here shortly.
So Kamal Haddon is, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have a season-ending injury at Tennessee this year?
I believe so, yes. That's why he was not able to test. That's why I don't have a score on him, which, by the way, folks, I did get my correct board updated. I lied to you last stream. I had Norzad on the board. I missed his name when I transferred it, but I did have him in the 6th. So for me, I still had him lower than the Chiefs took him.
That's fair. According to Real Analytics, you guys, they do all like in-game technology stuff, and they do in-game athleticism scores. He's one of the best in-game athletic cornerbacks in the draft. And according to that, that's, again, I haven't done a ton of film on him, but from what I understand about Hayden, he was having a fantastic season before he got hurt. Now the deep speed is not there, but it does it look like he's one of the more physical, long guys that will play off coverage and be coming, I guess, have better ball skills. Is that make sense to you?
Yeah, it certainly does. And I'm gonna have to go back now and take a deeper look at him because of the injury and the lack of testing. I had him off my board. Certainly makes sense that if they saw something on film, this is the perfect spot. And this is what the Chiefs do, and honestly, a number of teams do. If you say a thing that you like, and certainly ball production is going to be one of them, that you go and you grab them and you try to figure out the rest as you go, whether it's an injury that you're going to have to rehab, if you're going to have to then just put tons and tons of effort into education and development, that's okay at this level. He's got enough athleticism, as Dan was just saying, in game that he can step in. He can probably cover kicks for you. He's going to compete for a spot as a draft pick. Now, on a back-to-back Super Bowl roster, 6 that can only play teams, it's a long shot, but we will see.
Yeah, and this is one of those, again, cornerback upside picks. He's like 6'1", long arms, physical, and that's exactly what the Chiefs want at cornerback. So you have guys like, again, we heard last year that Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson were not progressing in camp. They were not getting better. They had not gotten better from the year before. If that happens again, you think that one of these corners that is trying to get better, that is going to be kind of coming with maybe a chip on his shoulder because he was having a good season, got hurt, and then you come into a situation where you've got other corners on the roster, but maybe they're not developing at the rate that the Chiefs want, and he can come in and put something out there and make the decision tough. So that's kind of how this feels to me. Again, I didn't watch any of Kamal Hayden, and I did know he got hurt, but in terms of what the Chiefs want on day 3 in corner, he makes perfect sense.
Well, I like it. And here's a couple of stats for you. Gave up only 36% completion percentage last year. Now, he didn't have a ton of snaps. It was a little over 500. I'm trying to double check. Only targeted 33 times. So teams chose not to go at him, allowed only 12, did not give up. Like for the year, less than 100 yards did he give up. And check this out. And this is the reason, as you were saying, 6 PBUs on top of 3 interceptions. I will get his data entered here now that we understand that we have to have him, and I'll put him up, and I'll tell you the Hawk rate and the Eagle rate are going to be amongst the top 10, 12-ish in the class. That is plenty of reason to put a guy like this onto your roster, especially knowing right now, in my opinion, Jalen Watson is your starting outside corner as we sit here right now. So if you can either push Joshua or you can add more, there's plenty of reason to do that. And one thing, despite his rookie season, that Jalen has not done historically is take the ball away or prevent it from being completed.
Yeah, and that's what I still think they want to have interceptions. Obviously, I think every team wants to have interceptions. And when you have teams or guys that aren't necessarily coming as close to getting those interceptions as you'd like, you want to put something out there. So I expect him to be on the practice squad. I don't expect him to make the roster right away. And that's not a bad thing. It's not. You want to see, especially for a guy coming off of a season-ending injury, you just want to see what he's able to put on tape, what he's able to put out there, get him in the rookie mini camp, get him into camp and see how he looks. If you can find a way to, again, maybe he's a injured stash. Like the Chiefs like to do that anyway. Maybe he ends up being one of those guys that gets put on IR at the end of training camp just to get him into next year.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a whole other Nico Romeo, Nazi first season, that whole thing, right? If you see potential, put it on the roster and make do with it. Casey, thank you. We appreciate you. We try to do our best. Sometimes there are players like this that we don't get because of X, Y, or Z. So we appreciate you guys hanging in with us when we do have to say, hey, we didn't put him into this draft ahead of time. Now that he's here, we'll go back and we will look him up and we will give you the information that you need. We'll dig into it as we do the whole class.
Absolutely. That's what we always try and do. Never going to get everybody.
Bill, what does the running back room look like? Can we bring in 1 to 2 running backs as UDFAs? Absolutely. There will be multiple, I assume, that they probably have their eye on. Now, back to as well as somebody like a Brendan Rice, who has fallen all the way through this draft. And as we're approaching the end of the 6th round, I'm pretty surprised. And thank you, Jace, and great avatar. I'm pretty surprised myself, but honestly, at this point, I don't want him to draft him. I want him to put him here as a UDFA. At this point, I think it's better for the organization and better for the player to come in as a UDFA and not get selected.
Yeah, we know that the Chiefs have done this multiple times with wide receivers in spending more on UDFAs, getting the phones working in the 7th round to get those guys committed to contracts because they can find different ways to get the most out of their players. Now, I don't know why he's sliding, but I can tell you right now.
I'll give you my theory.
Yeah, go for it.
As it all came down, this is the bottom line for me. He's Matrix 30 at a speed position.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. When you look at it all said and done, he was not able to perform. For his size, what would you hope that he can do? For me, it would be make catches in traffic, right? He's 29th in the Air Force metric about making contested catches. So the two things that lend to what he does do isn't consistent enough to make you think, hey, I got to have this. But he doesn't drop the ball, and that's most important. He's 4th in touchdown to drop ratio. That's something that you can build on. And I do believe, as much as everybody wants to poo-poo it, having his dad around to jump into the process of continuing his development, I'm here for that. So I still want to see that happen.
Yeah, he's also one of the best blocking wide receivers in the class. He just is. Like, he's a very physical blocker. He takes pride in doing the little things. And honestly, it seems like a kind of a glue guy. I don't really understand why teams are doing this. Maybe something will come out in the process. He also tweeted not too long ago that he is taking this personally. Get him in the building. Get a player like that in the. Maybe I have a conspiracy theory. So the NFL sees him not being as good as his father. So they want to personally put a chip on his shoulder to get the most out of this player as possible. Don't draft him so he comes in willing to put in the work and be the best version of himself. That's what this is.
I hope so. I would love it. And you know, this is the thing. He is, and at the end of the day, there's a shot. Frank Gore's kid hasn't gone yet either, but there are so many children of excellent football players in this draft. I think it's worth taking the shot on. So hey, let's keep it going. Lee, thank you for your support.
Thank you,
We
Lee.
appreciate you, and we do a ton of work, and you guys make it worth it. Because if we were just doing all this to yak at each other, it'd be pretty boring. So, PR, appreciate you. Welcome and
awesome.
Thank you down to Brazil. I wish I had something I could say correctly. I always enjoy the coverage and content. Thank you, Whiskey. You are always around here, and I appreciate it. Draft crushes going elsewhere. This is what pisses me off. I mean, because I'm generally a happy, go lucky guy until you cross me. And now the Rams just like capped it all off and took Jordan Whittington right out from under us. Who is
I was pretty upset about that
in the middle and will block his ass off too. God dang it.
He also is wide receiver, running back written all over him. But the reason the Chiefs didn't draft him is because they just brought in Louis Zamet. Like, that's the reason that they didn't draft the guy like that, because they just brought one in.
And let's be real, he's not a top 10 matrix guy either. He's going to be, less of an athlete. He is more an instinctual, physical kind of player. He's the kind of dude that goes in there and digs safeties out of the gap and lets somebody cut off of him. And he does all the work you have to have. I like that guy a lot. Dang it.
This is what it's all for, guys. Round 6 draft crushes that go somewhere else. That's what it's all for. Appreciate this super chat, Mathis. I have a feeling the Chiefs hit better this year in the draft. Do you agree? Yeah, so far. I mean, granted, we're not going to know until we get these guys on the field.
I'll say this too, and they're showing some Haddon film here, and I do like that fit. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I will say this: they're doing a better job hitting with alignment from what we see. And we do this not specifically for the Chiefs, but obviously we're influenced by what they do. But we look as a whole and certainly can fit in there. KCSN does the same thing. And I do believe that they're seeing it. The Kansas City Chiefs are more like we do. And I think that synergy is us learning what they're looking for and them getting better at making selections.
Yeah, and I think this process, we've done a good job of identifying exactly what the Chiefs need, because it was pretty glaring. Obviously, it's been glaring for specifically at tackle for a few years now. They've needed a tackle, and at wide receiver, it's been a glaring, desperate need. So outside of that, the tight end stuff, I didn't think it was going to happen, but again, it's a good player, so I'm right there. I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. Safety, again, you lose one of your guys, and Mike Edwards, I thought safety would be down the board a little bit. It fits. It makes sense. But again, going back to the boards, they're high players that we've evaluated. I mean, outside in Hayden, which we didn't get to, I'll ask and see if maybe EJ has watched some of him at Tennessee. But most of these guys that we've picked, that the Chiefs have selected, we've gotten really good grades on. So at least from that point, we've seemed to have figured out players that the Chiefs like. And even though they've fallen in the draft, they are still high on our boards. So that may be Chiefs-centric terms, where we see this guy as a good fit in Kansas City, maybe pumps up our board unintentionally. I don't know. All I know is that right now we've aligned with what the Chiefs have wanted to do, and it makes it look that way and feel a little bit better than usual.
Thias, thank you. I didn't mean to click off you there. I just want to confirm, Tad. I am always pissed off on draft weekend. One way or the other. Somebody takes somebody I want, like Whittington that they're showing right now. It galls me. Dang it.
It does.
Dub Freak, thank you. You've been here all weekend and contributing, and we appreciate your support. Thank you yet
Absolutely.
again. I hope you got some sleep, dude.
Yes.
Gutted,
Absolutely.
we haven't gone for running back. Gutted, we haven't gone for a running back this draft. Could we have another fast, powerful runner to complement Pop and CH? Maybe LRZ. I think he's a year away, but who knows? Andy was actually seemed pretty upbeat when he talked about him the other day. However, I feel the draft has been a positive one. I agree with you, and I think you nailed it there. They might not have accomplished everything yet, but they're making smart selections. And I think there's plenty of room for RBs that are going to be exactly where I always tell you guys. Don't spend draft picks on running backs. There's plenty of them to go around as UDFAs. And in this offense, as long as you can do one of several things, either catch the ball well, if you can run zone where you can actually attack the gap laterally and then cut up field, you can play in this offense. It's not the 1 foot and go as much as it used to be. That's still a possibility too. So there's a lot of single trait guys that can function as part of a running back committee in this offense. And I think that's part of why it gives you better value. So it's not over yet. And for those asking, and thank you, Dub, appreciate you again.
Yes, thank you, Dub.
The DTs, I don't know anything about Taylor. I will say this. I was higher than everyone else on Lovett in putting Lovett in the bottom third of the fifth. So he hasn't fallen yet. I just might have been a little bit higher. I do think the Chiefs still like him. Oh, tell me he didn't just go right now.
No. Bo Lemur just went to the Rams.
Oh, crap. And Flournoy went just before that. The local kid from Southeast Missouri State just went to the dang Cowboys. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Oh, okay. Is it Limmer or Lemur? I'm not sure how I'm supposed to say that.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was Lemur.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with your pronunciation. Are you good with Jared Wiley over Johnny Wilson at tight end? Did Johnny go at all, or is he still out there?
Yes, the Eagles drafted Johnny Wilson. So that pissed me off.
About right.
So yes, because Jared Wiley, I'm watching him intermittently as I can, and they actually use him as an inline tight end. He blocks down double to the second level. What were you seeing? He's lined up. I've watched one game. He's lined up out wide in the slot as an H-back, as a detached tight end, and as an inline tight end. So he's lined up in 6 different formations for TCU. Lined up all over the place. Big, he can get down the seam very, very quickly. We're going to do a film breakdown because I've got enough film to be able to do that for him. So, yes, we like Jared Wiley over Johnny Wilson at tight end, specifically because he already knows how to do everything the Chiefs are going to want him to do anyway.
Devin Leary off the board to the Ravens. Quarterback.
That's an interesting pick.
And it's not Pratt. I'm impressed by that.
Pratt hasn't even been drafted yet.
No, I thought that he would. This is about the perfect spot. I had Leary, honestly, about 10 spots above him. I had him right about mid-round this round. So pretty close on that. Jordan Travis did end up going, folks, a little bit higher than I expected, but in about the range. So the two quarterbacks that I still have on the board, I had Pratt above Spencer Rattler as being the next guy down. Evidently, I was wrong. The league doesn't seem to like him very much. And I still feel I'm the only one in America, and I freely admit this. I still feel Sam Hartman can contribute to a football team as a backup first and possibly a guy that could grow into a starter for you, especially if he were to end up in New Orleans, although they seem to have 17,000 quarterbacks now, so who knows?
Well, it's not New England that has 5.
Oh, do they? Okay. Well,
they have 5 on the roster.
Okay. Sometimes you got to make some things. The last thing about Johnny, though, Johnny was going to be a Jody Fortson project. It was going to be a transition that was going to be a challenge for him. So you're taking a player at his position that you feel can come in and contribute right away with Wiley.
Yeah.
And there goes Kingston, the USC guy. I had him right about here as well, and I did have a draftable grade on him. I didn't think he was really going to be a fit for the Chiefs, but I do think he deserves to be drafted, and I'm glad to see him go.
I don't know anything about him.
Okay. Underperforming athletically, but blocked for Caleb.
Okay.
Tackle Christian Jones hasn't been picked yet. Would he be a good fit
He
for Kansas City?
has.
Another developmental. He has? Okay.
He has.
I
He
had
was
not
picked
seen
like
that by
2
mistake.
picks after the Chiefs picked in round 5 dirty. So
Okay.
that was just a missed one.
Chef Boy, how are you doing, buddy? It's been a while. How high are we on the tight end? I need a loud voice of reasoning. I wanted Tanner. Tanner would have been a good pick as well.
Mhm.
Did you watch Tanner before? McLaughlin.
Yeah, I saw a bit of Tanner. I think but he was also an older guy, was he not? But
Yes.
in terms of at this point, both I think that he's got Wiley has a more upside. I think he's a more athletic tight end. I think they asked him to do more, which is why the Chiefs drafted him because again, they moved him around a ton and they used him in a lot of different ways. The Chiefs use Noah Gray in a lot of different ways, and they just don't put him out wide. That's Travis's job. And Wiley has lined up out wide, and he can win with speed and quickness against linebackers and safeties. So there's the big reason I think why he was drafted is that you can realistically see him lining up in 2 tight end sets with Travis Kelce and whatever wide receivers you want, and actually see him winning against some of these players.
Agreed. I'm with you there. The other thing that I will say, I did have Wiley in the 4th, and I did have McLaughlin in the 6th where he went. So the evaluation wise was, a good bit, 50 plus players as a difference. So that's not terribly off. Casey, thank you again. We appreciate your support, pal. Any parting thoughts here? And we will let you guys rest until we are down to the Chiefs' last pick, which who knows could get traded up for. I've been kind of hanging on, dragging this out a little bit in case they came back.
Yeah,
in,
me too.
But we will see. Let's see. What grade would you give our picks as a whole? I mean, right now, man. Days 1 and 2, despite losing a pick, that's an A draft for me. You accomplish your main goals, and you got the fits that make you scary.
I'll be honest. We know that they were trying to trade up into the 50s to get Kingsley Suamataia. We know they were trying to do that, and they couldn't accomplish it, and they still got him at 63. This draft right now is an A minus around there. I know if you don't like Xavier Worthy because of his size, I get that. So you want to knock it for that's fine. It's okay. It's fine with me. We all have different opinions on some of these players, but in terms of getting, I think, your tight end of the, maybe they see him as the tight end of the future. It's possible. I think Jaden Hicks, again, who was a 2nd round grade for me to our safety 2, you get him in the 4th round, A+ value. And then you come into the 5th round and you get a guy who's got 4 position experience, who's going to be your Nick Allegretti and then possibly take over for Trey Smith in 2 years. That's a great pick there. And then you get a guy who was having a good season, got hurt, and it's really more of an upside pick in a typical Chiefs kind of corner in Kamal Hayden. So I'm not mad at this draft at all. I think it's upside A total, probably on an A- with some of the maybe taking tight end a little early for me.
Yeah, I think you're right on it, and my internet is starting to cut in and out. So Joseph, we'll end with you. Thank you, buddy. Is Coker from Holy Cross still out there, and is he an option? I believe he is still there, and I do believe he is an option, as is his teammate, CJ Hansen, another guard.
Yeah, it feels like Coker is going to be somebody that probably is a UDFA. I don't think he's going to get drafted. I know he's an athlete, but at the end of the day, there's not much development over there. What's up with you?
The Bills got their revenge.
What do you mean they got their revenge? Oh, okay, whatever. Why is Daquan Hardy getting drafted over Johnny Dixon and Kalen King? Anyone want to surprise Caleb King? Anyone want to tell me that? That doesn't make any sense.
Speed.
That's ridiculous.
He's Matrix 2. He's Matrix 2 in the corner class.
All right, well, my dream of having Johnny Dixon in Kansas City is not coming true, so UDFA, bring him in.
Why?
Bring him in. Go get him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that actually bodes better for you, to tell you the truth. Max Melton was Matrix 1. Oh, I lied to you all yet again. No, I didn't. Daquan Hardy is Matrix number 2 for the cornerback group.
Okay.
So that's why he's an athlete.
Makes sense.
All right, folks. Thank you, Mr. Hooper. We got one more left. We will get back here for the Chiefs' last pick, whenever it is. Stay tuned for your regularly scheduled program to become unscheduled as a trade up. It may happen. You never know. But thank you for being with us yet again. Like, sub, hit the bell, and we'll see you in an hour or something like that.
Something like that.
Good,
Yeah.
Dan? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
We'll be here.
Thanks, guys. Yes, we will. We'll see you in a bit.